the first derivative of the function, we find the derivative of the given function. Note that it's a function of s, not x. And to begin with, it's a quotient. So we use the quotient rule. Denominator squared. So that is sine of 7s the whole squared. Denominator times d by ds of numerator minus numerator times d by ds of denominator. So that's the first step. So to begin with, we used the quotient rule because it's a quotient. It's a numerator divided by denominator. It's a quotient. So we use the quotient rule. So the next step, sine of 7s. Remember, everything is a function of s here. D by ds of cosine of 5s. Notice that d by ds of cosine of s is negative sine of s. But instead of s, we have a function of x, so we have to use the chain rule. So it's going to be negative sine of 5s. So we are differentiating cosine of 5s with respect to 5s. And then we multiply with the d by ds of the inner function 5s minus cosine of 5s times d by ds of sine of 7s. Sine of 7s becomes cosine of 7s when we differentiate with respect to 7s, but since we have to use the chain rule, we go d by ds of the inner function 7s, the whole divided by sine of 7s the whole squared. So this is equal to sine of 7s, and we multiply with a negative, so we have a negative sine of 7s times sine of 5s times 5, d by ds of s is 1, minus cosine of 5s times cosine of 7s times d by ds of 7s, which is equal to 7, the whole divided by sine of 7s the whole squared. Simplifying, we get negative 5 sine of 7s times sine of 5s minus 7 cosine of 5s times cosine of 7s, the whole divided by sine squared of 7s. Now we could simplify this a little further by using these formulas 1 and 2. Since we have sine of 7s times sine of 5s, we could use this formula and write it as negative 5 cosine of 7s minus 5s minus cosine of 7s plus 5s minus, and we could write this as 7 times, since both are cosine, we use the second formula, half, remember I forgot this half here, just remember the half, cosine of a minus b, so that is 5s minus 7s plus cosine of a plus b, so that is 5s plus 7s, the whole divided by sine squared of 7s. So simplifying, this is negative 5/2 cosine of 7 minus 5, which is 2s, plus 5/2 cosine of 7 plus 5 is 12, so cosine of 12s, minus 7/2 cosine of negative 2s is the same as positive cosine of 2s, plus, and minus, that's a minus times plus is minus 7/2 cosine of 12s, the whole divided by sine squared of 7s. Now that's equal to, so what I've done here is combined this term and this term, and this is what I get, negative 5/2, negative 7/2, and then I combine this term with this term, so I get 5/2 minus 7/2 cosine of 12s, and this is equal to negative 12 over 2, which is negative 6 cosine of 2s, plus, and this is 2 over 2, negative 2 over 2, so that's negative 1 times cosine of 12s, the whole divided by sine squared of 7s, so that's equal to negative 6 cosine of 2s minus cosine of 12s, the whole divided by sine squared of 7s. Now note that all this simplification comes from pre-calculus. We are just using some formulas to simplify, but if you stop here, I think it should still be okay.